of the most popular forms of freshwater fishing is feeder fishing. Feeder fishing is about fishing at the bottom, where a lot of the big fish often live. And it's quite simple. And this accessories kit will help you start feeder fishing straight away. Now let's look at all the components you get. First component in the set are these feeders. Now this is what they call a cage feeder. Now this is for pushing ground bait into, and also particle baits to go in it, but it's got to be plugged by ground bait because there's no top or bottom. And the cage style, well, this is great because it allows the bait to escape quickly. So you wouldn't use it in very, very deep water, but on most lakes it'd be perfect. You attach it through the swivel, but we'll come on to that later. Now this one here is called a maggot feeder. Now maggot feeders, you open the top, you put your maggots in there, close it, and when you cast it out, all the maggots can crawl through the holes. Now this is not for use with baits that aren't alive because they'll never get out of the holes. So a great trick that though, and they do catch a lot of fish. Now finally, this is just similar to the cage one. It's a normal ground bait feeder, so you can use it in slightly deeper water, but it's a great product. Now, when you're using this one, it's got a hole at the top. Take the swivel off your maggot feeder and the clip and clip it onto that. That's the best way of attaching it, so they can be interchanged if you like. But 3 great feeders, but there is a different style of feeder. Let me show you this. The final feeder in the set, now it's very clever, this one. This is what you see on a lot of modern commercial fisheries, if you like, places that have got stocked fish in there like carp. It's called a flatbed feeder or a method feeder. Basically, you'll thread your line through the middle of it. There's a swivel on the end, you pull it out, attach the line to it and push it back in. Now that there is safe on the line and it'll always land with the weight down. But how do you put ground bait on that? It is a ground bait feeder. Well, the way around it is to fill this frame, this mould, with very damp, hard ground bait. Ground bait that compresses tight. We push that in there, then we take the feeder and we push the feeder into the mould. Then we take it out and it should all be around the feeder. Now that little ball of bait with a very short hook length, a hook on the bottom, some bait, now that catches an awful lot of fish in the country. It's a great method and it's a great addition to this feeder set. Also in the feeder kit, you get the useful book of fishing, which is loaded with tips on all styles of fishing from saltwater to freshwater. And of course this plastic fella, this is a Disgorger. This is used for unhooking the fish. It's very important and all fishermen should have one. Now the final components of the set, now they look quite fiddly in these little bags and they're called terminal tackle. They're all the small bits that really make the difference. And this is everything you need to make a rig. Now I'm going to go through them, but I'll also show you how to make a simple rig. Now we've got some hooks to nylon here. They're ready tied hooks onto monofilament. They come in different sizes and they're barbless, and a lot of fisheries insist on barbless because they're easy to unhook the fish. So you've got a good range of those. That'll get you up and running, and they're big enough for maggots, corn, just the normal baits. Here's a set of match swivels. Now swivels, when you include them on the line in your hook length, they remove all the spin, because when you cast in and out a lot you get spin in your hook and it makes the line go all wavy, so this will help eliminate that. And finally is a bead, a buffer bead. These are bright ones, they come in all different colours. Now these are like a shock against the swivel in the rig when the feeder hits the swivel. Like I said, I'll thread one up and you can see how a rig could look. So I said I was going to make a rig, and here it is, really simple. So you start off with your main line here and you run your swivel on your feeder through it. Now I was going to say, swap the swivels around between the feeders and this style of feeder, because you do want them spinning around on the line because it'll stop the tangles. Next up is your bead, your buffer bead. Obviously these are quite bright ones. You can, if you've got other ones in your box, use those and they'll hit against the swivel. Now that's that little match swivel next in there. Now again, that helps with the spin in your hook length. So it's an important addition. Don't want them very big though, because if they get heavy, then they'll start to tangle. So this is a match swivel, probably between sizes 10 to 14, but they come free in the set. And then we've got the hook length, which is the hooks and nylon. And then on the end, we've got a really nice bunch of maggots. Now that sort of rig will catch fish in the river, catch fish in the lake. You know, it's a great all-rounder. Now remember, this is a maggot feeder. This is the one that you can't put ground bait in. You have to put live maggots in because they crawl out through the holes. So what you would do just before casting in, so you tip your maggots in there over the bait tub so they don't go everywhere. You put the top on quickly and you cast that out into the lake or the river. Now, when it's on the bottom, all the maggots will wriggle out, see? And they'll go right by your hook bait, and this is why feeder fishing is so good on lakes and rivers and canals, because your bait is right next to some loose feed, and those two together are great attractors. Can't go wrong. Enjoy your feeder fishing.